All right, so we're back on. We are going to be tracking the live stream on the White House roundtable on Antifa. Currently, we have live feed coming from Associated Press. I'm waiting on a feed from the White House itself. But for the meantime, uh, we're going to watch the Associated Press, the AP. We will watch the AP. If they go live with the conference before we get the White House feed, then we'll join them. All right. All right. So if you're joining us, we were live for about 3 hours earlier, and that was our regular daily live stream. I had planned to do this live stream later. I guess I got carried away because I was having so much fun with the chat. In the meantime, if you're joining us to watch this stream concerning the roundtable that President Trump will be having, he will be having a roundtable conference with a number of people who have experience with the Antifa riots in the United States, in Portland. All right, so here's what is going to cover. Okay, the oh, sorry about that. I was looking at something else. So we're going to look at those who are going to be in the room. All right, President Trump is hosting a White House roundtable on Antifa, and he's going to be in the state dining room. He had signed an executive order designating Antifa a terrorist organization. The event will feature officials, which will include AG Pam Bondi, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, FBI Director Kash Patel. Hold on, let me make sure I'm keeping an eye on the feed. Okay, we're still waiting on the feed to go live. I'm going to drag this off to the side so I can read this and keep an eye on the feed. Deputy AG Todd Blanche and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, everyone's favorite guy when it comes to laying down the law. It also includes independent journalists who have reported on Antifa activities in hotspots like Portland, Oregon. And I'm glad to see some of the names on this list. We have Andy No, Nick Sorda. Nick Sorda was arrested by Portland PD after he reported being assaulted by Antifa militants in Portland. He was arraigned, I think that was yesterday. He was arraigned, and I don't know exactly the specifics of that. I haven't covered that yet. But, you know, a lot of us have pointed out the fact that situation was quite disturbing when you have law enforcement essentially running interference for criminals. You do have a problem. Okay, so we are going to be in the room with them, watching and listening to what President Trump is going to say about the crackdown on Antifa. These guys have been coddled for so long. They've been coddled, and they've gone from simply being people who rage out online and say things that, to be honest, are disturbing, but they still say them anyway because they have freedom of speech. But they've gone on to destruction of property and attacking lives. So we have Nick Sorda, Cam Higby. I did a video on the channel on Cam Higby being attacked by a deranged woman of color, black woman, and a lot of you liked my take on that video. So we're going to be covering that. Jonathan Cho, I think that's how it's pronounced. Katie Davis Court, I spoke about her in one of the videos. James Klug, Savannah Hernandez, Nick Shirley, amazing. Nick is going to be there. Fantastic. I've done videos on quite a number of these guys in just the last few days, so it's great to see them in the room. Brandy Cruz and Julio Rosas. All right, guys, just give me a sec. I need to take a call. Hey, good evening. It's going well. I'm so sorry. Like I've been on the stream all day, and I'm still on the stream. I'm covering something from the White House, so I've been on the stream. Can we talk later in the evening? Will you be able to talk, say, sometime around 9 o'clock? Is that possible at all? All right. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks. Bye. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So most of these people are people that I follow, and I've done videos on. They're going to be in the room, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say about, of course, they are reporting on ICE, and I want to hear what President Trump has to say about cracking down on ICE. It is something that needs to be done. Of course, there's going to be the play on words. You know, Trump is a fascist. He's cracking down on the anti-fascist organization. That's stupid. But you know what? It never stopped them from doing that or trying to make that a talking point. All right. So we're going to, excuse me. All right. I hear my wife just got home from work. I might duck downstairs to give her a kiss and then rush back up in a bit. But I want to be sure that I have everything I need here, because once we get in the room with President Trump, I want to be completely dialed in. We've been following the chaos happening in Portland. We reacted to a video during the last live stream on some of the darker things happening in the streets of Portland, where literal demon possessed people have been walking around. The accounts of the craziness happening in Portland is hard to believe, but people are giving those accounts. So it could be true. All right. I would like to get the feed from the White House feed, but they aren't live yet. I wonder what's going on in there. The Associated Press is standing by, so we have a view from outside the White House. So we're going to keep tracking that. In the meantime, maybe we discuss a few other things. If you're in the chat, please let me know where you're watching from. Let's know where you're watching from, and let's talk. If you were in the last live stream, let's know if you were. And then, what do you think President Trump is going to say about cracking down on ICE? Sorry, not ICE, on Antifa. We've seen them act out, rage out. We've seen them go crazy in Portland. we've also seen them do some crazy things in other cities. Do you agree with President Trump designating them a terror organization? All right, so I'm going to let's look at the feed, okay? So in case you missed it and you haven't been paying attention, here are a few things being said. This is 18 hours ago. All right. We're going to come to that. All right. So these are the sights and sounds of Portland. These are the sights. Now, this is a video that's really interesting. Okay. Maybe we watch this for a bit. I don't want to miss when the Associated Press goes live, so I'm going to watch them on my phone, or at least track them on my phone while. All right, I'm going to track them on my phone. Let me make sure there's no audio coming out of the phone. I'm going to track them on my phone while we talk about this, so I can easily just skip back as soon as they go live. So this is an investigative journalist who went over. Now this is from Andy No. We just mentioned that Andy will be part of the conference with President Trump. Andy No did release this video from a journalist in Sweden, a Swedish journalist, independent journalist. The independent journalists are knocking it out of the park. All right, so just follow this video. This video is this journalist's work in tracking down the founder of the Antifa branch in Portland, and he's trying to get him to talk. So it's in Swedish, so I'm going to be talking over and kind of reading the subtitles. My head is in the way, so maybe I should just move my head out of the way so that you can enjoy the video. Do you want to keep seeing my head there, or do you want me to move my head out of the way? I'm going to move my head up top. Okay, done that. All right, so we're going to play the video and watch this. So this is the origins of Rosewood Antifa, the branch in Portland, and you hear some of the ideology and the way they operate from this video. You can read the subtitles, and then we just give a brief conversation over it while we're waiting for the feed to go live in the White House.
Tjenare Johan, jag har lite frågor om Rose City Antifa som du var med och grundade. Så ni bakom mordet på Charlie Kirk? Du är medborgare i USA. Är du rädd för att själv dömas för conspiracy eller?
Just nu är jag på plats i Varberg, Halland för att försöka få en intervju med Johan och Caroline Victorin som grundar den numera terrorstämplade vänsterextrema våldsgruppen Rose City Antifa i Portland, USA.
By any means necessary, they say, can mean outing a white nationalist at their work, or, as we've seen recently, violence, fires, property damage, hand-to-hand combat.
You have to make it so unpalatable to be doing white supremacist organizing that they no longer want to do that.
För 5 år sedan så infiltrerade journalister från Project Veritas Rose City Antifa där de bland annat kunde visa att Johan och Caroline hade byggt upp gruppen med kunskaper från den vänsterextrema miljön i Sverige där man aktivt tränade sina anhängare att göra sina politiska bakom en rad våldsattacker mot såväl som republikanska politiker. 2020 var Rose City Antifa involverade i de BLM-upploppen där federala byggnader sattes i brand och en våldsvåg svepte över stan.
I've been undercover with Rose City Antifa. They were getting this tradecraft from someone else, someone with much more experience, someone who did this for her living. Caroline, which is the founder of RCA, moved to Sweden with her husband, who is a dual citizen. What is black bloc? The term is used to a tactic in which individuals conceal their identity.
All right, so listen very carefully, because this is a huge part of how Antifa operates. Whenever you see them in a location, this is what they do. And this is a tactic that they applied. I think it was in New York or Washington, D.C. I think it was in Washington, D.C. After Trump was inaugurated. They destroyed things, they got arrested, and then they got let off because there was a technicality where the lawyer asked the question, can you prove that the person you grabbed or arrested was the person who committed the crime? Because they all looked the same and they were all masked up. So just listen to this.
To look uniform so that no one can be identified.
I'm going to skip back a little.
With RCA, it seems much more structured. No other identity. The term is used to a tactic in which individuals conceal their identity to look uniform so that no one can be identified in an act of a crime. With RCA, it seems much more structured, almost like a company.
Practice things like an eye gouge. It takes very little pressure to injure someone's eyes.
Nu efter mordet på Charlie Kirk så gick Rose City Antifa ut helt öppet och hyllade mordet. Och det är också en av...
So they openly celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk. These people are not peaceful. These people are not... Antifa is not an ideology. It's an organized group of people who create chaos and anarchy in order to force their political ideology.
Ledningarna till att president Trump nu har signerat en exekutiv order där man har terrorstämplat Antifa i USA. Vilket också nu öppnar upp för ytterligare brottslighet. I USA så är det olagligt att grunda en kriminell organisation och både Caroline och Johan riskerar att åtalas för bland annat conspiracy. Så planen är att vi ska försöka få en intervju med Johan när han går ut genom dörren och försöka få svar på våra frågor om han är rädd för att åtalas nu av en amerikansk domstol.
Brottet conspiracy i USA innebär att två eller flera personer...
So you will find that people who engage in terrorist organizations and who create terrorist organizations, they want to be happy, all right? They want to have a family. They want they have sorry, I'm looking for the photo of the guy and his spouse. Yeah, there they are. They want to look, they want to be happy, they want to be at peace, but do you know what they do? They go out there and create chaos. They burn down businesses, they injure people, they celebrate when people are murdered, and this is the face of terror. With a smile, they look nice and chubby. And then they have this thing where it's like, okay, we're anti-fascist. We're anti-fascist. And it's an excuse to destroy lives and property. All right?
I USA innebär att två eller flera personer bestämmer sig för att begå ett brott. Redan överenskommelsen tillsammans med en handling i riktning mot planen räcker för att dömas. Och straffen, de är hårda.
Right, so this is in Swedish. All right? The founders of Rose City Antifa, that's the Antifa branch in Portland, they escaped to Sweden. They created a problem in the States and then they escaped to Sweden. All right, so they've been tracked down to Sweden and the independent reporter is Swedish.
Upp till livstidsfängelse för allvarliga brott som till exempel terrorism, även om huvudbrottet aldrig genomförs.
Tjenare Johan, jag har lite frågor om Rose City Antifa som du var med och grundade. Du blev ju avslöjad av Project Veritas, både du och Caroline. Står ni bakom mordet på Charlie Kirk? Johan, skulle man kunna få en kommentar om terrorstämplingen av Rose City Antifa? Du är ju medborgare i USA. Är du rädd för att själv dömas för conspiracy eller?
Alright, so that's basically the end of the video. Alright, so those are the people who created, who founded Rose City Antifa, the branch in Portland that has been creating all the chaos at the ICE facility. Here they are with all their glory. Right? They are the same group that did this. Oh my. So they're the same group that's been doing this for over 100 days in Portland. Right? How is it that an ideology, okay, an ideology has people who show up wearing the same things, masked up to conceal their identity, operating? How do they know to show up at the same place, same time, dressed the same, and doing things in a coordinated way? Sometimes they show up with shields. They show up with masks and filters and goggles to protect them against the tear gas. This is organized, okay? It's organized, and you know it. I know it. You know it, and I know it. So, yeah, I was born at night, but not last night. Yeah, so we're still tracking. So President Trump deployed the military a while back, and this is a resident of Portland. All right, so they try to make it look like, okay, no, that President Trump is hated by everyone. No one likes him. No one wants what he's doing. But here's a resident of Portland.
I am so happy that Trump is sending the National Guard in here. I live in this building. We both live in this building. We've been asking for help for months, and we're finally going to get it.
When do you think they're coming?
When? Not soon enough, man. Not soon enough.
What do you want to see happen?
I want him to come in and mess them up and just annihilate these people. Whatever force they need. Gals like her and the other people that live in the building. Watch out. They're the ones. They're the ones that I'm concerned about. So they're afraid to come out of the building. So I've been coming out every night, every day to help them, to make sure that they're okay. She won't even leave the building with him.
Are you afraid of the protesters?
Very. It's an extreme mob mentality to me, which means nothing is as it should be.
So are you excited that Trump's deploying the troops here?
Very excited.
So these are the people who are living with the chaos. These are people who are living with the chaos. But when you listen to CNN, they try to make it look like it's peaceful. Nothing's happening. Everything is fine. It's fine. You shouldn't worry. There's nothing to see here. Okay, so I'm looking over to the side because I need to be sure that a few things are in order, and yeah, just like I thought.
I can't wait for them to leave.
Forever and ever. Amen.
And if they don't leave, I'm going to bring in the Gypsy Jokers.
All right. So residents of Portland who live near the ICE facility, they've been going through this. They've been going through this for over 100 days. Now, Nick Shirley, this is one of the first videos from Nick Shirley that I put up on the channel. I reacted to this video, and I'm going to play it because this is Portland. This is near the ICE facility.
Get the fuck out. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, I didn't do anything. Hey, get the fuck out. You get out of here. Don't try to hit me. Get out of here. Well, I have no. Get out of here. Don't come back. Get away from me. See you again. Get away from me, sir. Get the. Where are you? You're pushing me onto the road. Get the fuck out of here. Let me move. Let me get out. If you're gonna let me get out. Fucking walk. Hey, sir, stop it. Fucking walk. Stop. Walk, motherfucker. What are you doing? Why are you so mad? I didn't do anything. You did. What did I do? Walk. I haven't done anything. Walk, motherfucker. Do not come back. Watch out. You come back, I'm gonna fucking smoke you, dude. Really? Yes, really.
So he threatens to
stop it. Stop.
End his life.
Sir, stop it. Stop sticking your cameras in people's fucking face. I have the right to be here. Okay,
these are the
I have the
peaceful
right to be here.
protesters.
I have the right to film.
That the city of Portland is protecting.
Lasered on you. You have a sniper lasered on you right now.
I don't give a fuck.
Stop it.
Stop sticking your camera in people's face.
I didn't do anything wrong. Okay. You have a sniper on you right now. You have a sniper on you right now.
So he basically just I had one of the viewers who watched that video say that he's ex-military and he explained what happened here. So let me explain what happened based on what he told me. All right, so I'm gonna just restart this.
You have a sniper on you right now.
All right. So he said when he watched the video, he said in the comments that when they were in Iraq or Afghanistan, I can't remember, but one of those deployments, that the military would use handheld lasers. All right, so he said this isn't actually a sniper. It's not a sniper. It's a handheld laser, and it's used as a deterrent. It's used as a deterrent against people who are acting funny around the military bases. So it kind of scares them off. So that wasn't a sniper rifle. Okay, so a lot of people had fun with the whole thing. We're inside of the White House now, so we're going to be. I want to see if the White House is transmitting. If they're not, okay, they are not. So we're going to go to the Associated Press. I hope we can live stream without being dinged. All right, here it is. Jeez, my computer is complaining. It's sluggish now.
It's very close, and they're doing very well. We have a great team over there, great negotiators, and they're.
Okay, guys, I apologize. My computer is dragging its feet. I'm going to close some windows. All right, I'm going to close some windows, but we'll be fine. I'm going to close some windows, and we should be fine. I've been streaming for the last 4 hours, essentially. Gosh, I apologize. I'm going to shut down a bunch of stuff. Okay, he's doing his intro. I'm gonna close some browsers. Thousand browsers on whenever I'm working. Gosh. Right, I'm gonna play from I'm gonna increase the volume on my phone so you can hear the audio.
With the domestic terror group Antifa that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years. and other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local
I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance that negotiations are going along very well. We're dealing with Hamas and many of the countries. As you know, we have Muslim, all of the Muslim countries are included, all of the Arab countries are included, very rich countries and some that are not so rich, but just about everybody's included. It's never happened before. Nothing like that's happened before. And our final negotiation, as you know, is with Hamas, and it seems to be going well. So we'll let you know. If that's the case, we'll be leaving probably on Sunday, maybe Saturday, maybe a little later than Saturday evening, but that seems to be our schedule. It should be clear to all Americans that we have a very serious left-wing terror threat in our country. Radicals associated with the domestic terror group Antifa that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years. And other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local ICE facilities and posted diagrams of the buildings online, meaning nothing but bad, accompanied by photos of specific ICE agents that they're targeting, one in particular who's a top person and a great patriot. In July, approximately a dozen Antifa-aligned militants stormed the ICE facility in Texas and then lured officers out of the building before firing dozens of rounds at police. They were crazy, frankly, shooting one Texas officer in the neck. And in Portland, Oregon, Antifa thugs have repeatedly attacked our officers and laid siege to federal property in an attempt to violently stop the execution of federal law. Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful. And what the governor and the mayor of, as an example, you could say of Portland, and you can say certainly of Chicago, it's not lawful what they're doing. They have to be very careful. In addition, 2 weeks ago, radical left terrorists in Dallas conducted a sniper attack on a local ICE facility, killing 2 people and leaving behind a note that read, "Hopefully this will give ICE agents some real terror." That's bad.
Anglo-Saxon.
This attack came.
America has been talking about Africa for decades. We're returning the favor.
To inscribe the words.
Yatias 311. Hello, brother. How are you?
The bullet onto the bullet shelf itself. The epidemic of left-wing violence and Antifa-inspired terror has been escalating for nearly a decade.
Yep.
At universities, Antifa has organized riotous mobs to attack campus speakers. I see it all the time. And these are agitators, anarchists, and they're paid. And you'll find that out. You'll be finding it out very soon. You should see what we have on these people. These are bad people. These are people that want to destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. They've used armed gangs to assault local police in cities nationwide, and they've attacked journalists reporting on their crimes. So the journalists that report on their crimes, don't worry, you're very safe. I hope that's not going to turn you around, but they have been very threatening to people, but we're going to be very threatening to them, far more threatening to them than they ever were with us, and that includes the people that fund them. Probably some of the people I know, some of the people I dine with, but if they do, they're in deep trouble. So we're going to be looking very strongly at the people that are funding these operations. When you see the signs, and they're all made out of a beautiful paper, beautiful, nice, stiff, very expensive paper with beautiful wood handles, all the same color. They come from very expensive printing machines. These are not people that write out their signs in a basement that believe in something. These are paid anarchists. At least 3 of these courageous journalists have personally been victims of Antifa attacks. Andy No has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa thugs for his work in Andy is a very serious person, too, I have to tell you. I've been watching him for a long time. Is Andy here? That's what I thought. Hello, Andy. I thought that was you. You're looking better than you do out on those streets, huh? You look much better. It's nice to have you. You feel a little safer here, I think, maybe. Well, not that safe, because you have them. Don't worry about that. But thank you very much. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa, and including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage. Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag-burning mob, and we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. I've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it from not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do, is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning. Very recently, Katie Davis Court was hit in the face with a flagpole in Portland by an Antifa radical, leaving her with a very blackened eye. So, Katie, thank you very much. And I'd like to also say that I watched Nick. Where's Nick? Is Nick here? Nick? Hi, Nick. That was a rough time you went through. I hope you got my little note. I wrote you a note.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. It helped a lot because it was a difficult situation. It was very stressful, and your note helped a lot. I truly appreciate it.
I thought it was terrible, actually. I thought it was terrible. So we'll talk about it a little bit. Under the last administration, the Department of Justice targeted faithful Catholics, Christians, and patriotic parents as domestic extremists. They said, oh, they're extreme because they believe in God. They're extreme because they go to a Catholic church, or evangelicals, where everybody was under the gun. Unless you were a really bad, sick person, then they left you alone. Under the Trump administration, we're going after Antifa criminals, and all who fund and support their campaigns are in serious trouble. And we have a lot of records already, a lot of surprises, a lot of bad surprises. It's people that you would never think. I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, by the way, yesterday was incredible in Congress. It was amazing, and she just did it from the heart and the brain, because she's very smart, in all fairness. But she did it from the heart, and she did it an incredible. Everybody was talking about it. She exposed some of these fake senators, these terrible senators, people like Blumenthal that had a phony war record. For 20 years, he talked about it, what a hero he was, and it turned out he never went to Vietnam. For 20 years, he talked about being a hero in Vietnam. Then it was exposed when he said what platoon he was with, and it was exposed that somebody was watching from that particular platoon. They said he was never with us. And then he went out and he cried, and he was ready to drop out of the election. And disgraceful. And then he looks at people like Pam and he starts criticizing her, and she's a patriot. And they ought to do something with that. You know, we have a young congressman that's right now in jail for lying about where he went to college and other things. It was, you know, frankly not good. It was pretty bad. But it was nothing compared to Blumenthal. I mean, what Blumenthal did, he was for 20 years a hero, a great war hero. And then he sits back and, you know, sanctimonious kind of a guy, looks down, how dare you do this to the American public, you know? What a fake. But I thought Pam was incredible yesterday, as well as Secretary Kristi Noem, who's really out there courageously, and I appreciate it, Kristi, amazing what you're doing. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's really coming up with some great information, Kash. It's great. Keep it coming, because there's plenty of it. Deputy Attorney General, one of the best lawyers you'll ever find, Todd Blanche, who I know personally is a good lawyer because I'm here. Thank you very much, Todd. Good job, Todd. Let me ask Attorney General Bondi to say a few words, and then we'll follow it up with Secretary Noem and Director Patel. And we're going to have some of the people around the table, very courageous people, and they're going to be talking, journalists, almost all, and they're going to be talking, and we'll take some questions from the press at the end. Okay, Pam, please.
Thank you, President Trump. And as you made clear, Antifa is a domestic left-wing terrorist organization. We've seen them on video for years because they wanted to be seen and they got away with it. They beat journalists, they attack courthouses, they attack police stations, they dox and assault our law enforcement officers. The Biden administration let them commit these crimes with total impunity for years. So did Democrat leaders like Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson. Last week, independent journalist Nick Sorter was arrested just for protecting himself against Antifa. I saw it online and I called Nick. I couldn't believe what happened. He did all this just trying to save our American flag from being burned. He was pushed down and assaulted, yet the local police arrested Nick, not the Antifa thugs who did this to him. Yep. Antifa feels empowered to operate in the open because weak Democrats have turned a blind eye to their actions. Their hatred for President Trump and for law and order agendas fuels their violence. We've seen more than 1,000% increase in attacks against our ICE agents since January 20th. Secretary Noem is out there fighting for you firsthand to keep our federal officers safe, to keep our federal buildings safe, and we're not gonna have it anymore, these thugs. We saw what's happening in Portland and Chicago, and you saw what happened in Dallas. No longer. This is not activism, it's anarchy. We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings, attack our law enforcement, and intimidate our communities. Under your leadership, President Trump, we're deploying the full might of the federal law enforcement to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations led by Stephen Miller. And Stephen, thank you for everything you're doing. Last week, I issued a memo ordering our federal law enforcement agents, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and ATF to protect ICE officers from Antifa and other radical left-wing violence. Director Patel has been going non-stop. He and Deputy Attorney General Blanche were in Chicago yesterday. While Secretary Noem was in Portland, we are around this country fighting against this domestic terrorism. We had Apple and Google take down the ICE block apps. Hope they continue to comply with that. It's threatening the safety of our federal law enforcement officers. We're not going to stop at just arresting the violent criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels, we're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa. Destroy the entire organization from top to bottom. We're going to take them apart. Thanks to your bold leadership and the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is exactly what they are, Americans will no longer tolerate their unhinged violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam. Christine.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting today and focusing on Antifa and the terrorists that they are. Let's not make any mistake. These individuals do not just want to threaten our law enforcement officers, threaten our journalists, and the citizens of this country. They want to kill them. Their agenda is to destroy the American people and our way of life, and this president is standing in their way. He is stopping them from bringing their death and their destruction to the individual citizens in this country that just want to raise their kids and their grandkids in peace and in safety. I want to also thank everyone around this table for being so bold and so brave, for standing up and recognizing the threat that Antifa is to our way of life. By recognizing how advanced they are, how sophisticated their networks are, how they've infiltrated our entire country, and we're seeing them play out with their tactics from city to city, and how they have built out their funding mechanisms. And sir, I also want to thank our Treasury Secretary for his work in getting to the bottom of these funding mechanisms and individuals who are perpetuating this violence on our American cities. I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets. While you talked about some of the stories of our ICE agents, our Border Patrol agents, how they have been attacked, how they have been shot at, injured, the damage that they've done. These leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up. We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again. They have been so bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals to justice. One of the individuals we arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa, and that we are hoping that as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society. I want to thank the new journalists here today for telling their stories and for being able and willing to go to the streets and to cover what's happening here in America. Many times the legacy media has looked the other way, refused to tell the stories. The networks have not really focused on what this is and what damage it is doing to our country, and how this network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years. And today is the day that we have a president that won't tolerate it and will stand up and fight for the American people. So thank you for being here, for being so bold, and for standing in the gap at such a time as this. It will matter, it will make a difference, and your life will be one of significance because of what you've done today. So with that, God bless you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cash, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, the American people gave you a sweeping mandate in your victory in this election cycle, and they demanded safety and security for our citizens. And your administration, with your leadership, has provided us with the resources that we need, which is a whole of government approach to go after criminals absolutely everywhere, not just outside of this country, but within this country. And that takes a whole of government approach. The interagency seated up here with the Department of Homeland Security, our Attorney General, our Deputy Attorney General, and your White House staffers, and including Stephen Miller's leadership, has allowed us to go out there and map out these networks. What we are doing at the FBI is simple. It does not require rocket science. We are following the money. Money never lies. And that's what it's going to take to bring down this network of organized criminal thugs, gangbangers, and yes, domestic terrorists, because that's what they are. They are harming everyday citizens in every single one of our communities. And the folks you see here on the right and left, they're some of the bravest men and women we have today. They're reporting the stories live time because the mainstream media won't cover it. They're putting their lives on the line. They're standing up for the flag. The least we can do is stand up for them. So you have my thanks. I read more of your stories than I do theirs because you guys are putting out the truth. And we deserve a country where you are protected as equally as they are. We, in this FBI, will go after with the criminals with a vengeance. We will not rest until we find every single seed, money, donor, organization, and funding mechanism that we have. And I want to echo the Secretary's comments on Scott Bessent, who's allowing us to map out these networks through their financial criminal activities, which has been going on for decades. And I would like to remind the American public, they built this disease temple of corruption over decades. And in 8 short months, Mr. President, you have crippled their foundation because of your leadership here, because of the interagency, because of people like Deputy Attorney General Blanche, and because of Attorney General Pam Bondi's fearless leadership to go after criminals wherever they are. They will not be able to hide. They were able to hide and conspire with prior administrations, and we are exposing their corruption from within. And we will go to every single city in this country under Operation Summer Heat and the other operations we are doing at the FBI to bring these criminals to justice. We will arrest every single one of them from whatever perch you sit in, private or public, no matter how your goal or your ambition is. It will be crushed by the Constitution because the American people deserve law and order, and that's what we're going to give you.
Thank you very much, Cash. Great job. Maybe we'll start over here. Would any of you like to say something? Feel free. You can say it in front of a fine group of people, also journalists and reporters. Do you want to start?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. President Trump, members of the cabinet, really appreciate you guys bringing this together. And the fact that we are here today on such short notice shows how serious you guys are taking this issue of trans terrorists and frankly, the cities and police departments that are cooperating with Antifa, such as Portland. I mean, the Portland politicians are literally willing to sacrifice their own citizens just to appease these Antifa terrorists. It's sickening. I've seen it firsthand, obviously. When I went to jail that night, never expected it to happen. I thought that they were maybe removing me for my own safety. It never crossed my mind that I was the one that was being arrested for a crime after I was just thrown into a hole. I heard from the Department of Homeland Security after I had gotten out of jail, and one of your, I won't say exactly who it was, but somebody very close to Secretary Noem over here said that they were legitimately worried for my safety in the Portland jail. But luckily the Portland jail was, I was the only one there, essentially, because they don't actually arrest people in Portland, besides conservative journalists, I guess. So look, I'm glad that it was not a good night for me. Let's just say that. It was not fun sitting in that jail, but I'm glad to see what has come of it. And I've been able to talk to a bunch of FBI agents, ATF agents, DHS agents that I didn't even know existed until I went there and went to that ICE facility. And the morale is at an all-time high. It is so exciting to see these guys know now that they have the backing of the Secretary, the DOJ, as well as the President of the United States, and they are there to do their job. They are going to fulfill this mission and deport these violent criminals. I believe one of the ones that I did a ride-along with Secretary Noem yesterday, President Trump, and there was a pedophile that had come into the country 5 times over the past 7 years. 7 years, and apparently under the Biden regime that was just allowed to happen. That was fine, no problem. It's concerning to me that you're seeing the Portland Police Department, as well as the governor of Oregon, and the mayor, of course, coming out and running defense for pedophiles that have entered the country illegally 5 times. It's crazy. I'm glad it's taking a front row seat in the media. And, you know, they're being forced to talk about it in reality because, you know, we're the ones that were on the ground. We're the ones that are actually reporting what's going on. And you know, much of the legacy media has been either ignoring it or covering for Antifa for years now. So thank you guys so much for taking this seriously. And President Trump, you mentioned that flag. Remember, you put out a truth right after I took this flag from that man that was burning it in the street.
Do you know who he is?
Oh yeah, I know exactly who it is.
So why don't you give it to Pam? Give it to the Attorney General and let's start prosecutions.
Yeah, I actually have a second flag that he tried to burn as well. So I have 2
same guy.
So what happened when that flag started burning? Everyone went crazy. And that's when it started, when they started burning the flag. So thank you. If you could give the information, it would be great.
Absolutely.
And at least that horrible night made you famous.
Let me know in the chat if you agree.
I got a text from the President of the United States.
I agree.
Appreciate that.
And President Trump, after that happened to Nick, I called Harmeet Dillon and we opened a pattern and practice investigation into the Portland police very publicly as to how they let this happen.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, Brandy Cruz, you're going to hear us very fired up today, and you can tell, and it's because some of us have been covering Antifa for 15 years and have never had anyone in a position of authority even acknowledge their existence. And I'll also tell you that I think that had you not done, the single most powerful thing you've done to deal with this scourge has been acknowledging that Antifa is a real thing. I genuinely believe there would be people at these tables who would be dead today and would have been killed in Portland had you not called them a terror organization and said we're going to bring the full weight of the federal government.
Don't like the U.S. leave.
I talked to Katie Daviscourt in Portland the other day. She'd been assaulted all summer. And she said the same thing. They didn't seem quick to violence as soon as you made that designation. So they're thinking in their heads, they're worried. There's been 24 or so arrested in Portland. They don't want to go to federal prison. There's this video of them, one of them who was in the face of an ICE agent, and then he's in custody shaking. Once you take the mask off, they're nothing. And I was told by probably a dozen people not to tell you this. I'm going to tell it to you anyway, because it's relevant to what we're talking about. I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years.
Look at that.
This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier. more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after my Trump derangements.
Please like the video. Guys, thanks for liking the video. But if you haven't liked the video, please.
I could not care any less what any of you have to say about this meeting. Could not care any less. We're not here for you. I'm not here to convince any of you that Antifa is a real thing, because if you have not come to that conclusion by now, you are never going to come to that conclusion because you don't want to see it. And you're going to go and you're going to say it's a bunch of right-wing conservative influencers who are here spinning a tale. I was one of you. I was a mainstream reporter in Seattle for 10 years. I was a TV reporter on the streets doing my job, and I was still assaulted by Antifa. So it's not about being conservative, it's about people who go there and show what they're doing. And when I saw, after all those years, that the media wouldn't be honest about what was happening, that Democratic politicians wouldn't be honest about what was happening, I thought, well, gosh, if they're not being honest about that, maybe they're not being honest about President Trump either. And it opened my mind to just looking at things for what they were. And now I find you quite funny, actually. Now I'm much happier about it. But, you know, for me, again, I could not care any less the stories that they go to print. This is what I care about. We have 3.5 years. Nothing is guaranteed, although I think if Democrats keep it up, we'll probably have Republican presidents for the next 3 decades. But nothing is guaranteed, and so what I want to see over the next 3.5 years is a full court press to dismantle Antifa once and for all in a meaningful way. I know, Andy, we talked before this about some ideas. That's really what we want to, I don't care what the media says, I don't care what Democrats say. They will never wake up to this fact. So we want the federal government to take as many of these cases as possible, look at the interstate travel between Portland and Seattle when it comes to these people who are committing violent acts, and hopefully in 3.5 years, they will be a shell of their former selves.
Very close to that, and it's Antifa and many others, unfortunately. There are many others, bad ones. Most have been named terrorist organizations. There are a couple that we're going to. But I think we've got it pretty well covered. But there are many others. But very specifically today, it's Antifa, and it's really bad. And we're going to get it cleaned up. Andy, do you have something? Thank you very much. I'm glad you no longer have TDS. I feel very good about that.
Fully recovered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the cabinet. I have a lot of gratitude, and a little bit about my background. I'm born in Portland, Oregon, from there. And growing up, it's always been left-wing, very progressive. And I liked it. It had cafes and artists and those who lived a bohemian lifestyle. And in 2016, I was a graduate student at Portland State studying political science. I was an editor at the student paper there, a very progressive paper. And I was assigned to cover the election night demonstrations. Well, the elections night protests turned to riots, 3 days of violent rioting in Portland. And it was the first time that I saw groups dressed in black with their faces covered. This was 4 years before COVID. Some of them were waving the black flag of anarchism, some the red flag of Marxism. And within seconds, they would ravage one street to another, to another, to another. And the next day, I would read the legacy media, which I still read at that time and looked forward to, and I looked up to those journalists. And I was really shocked to see that the narrative was that these, in my view, anti-democratic political violence was legitimate acts of protest because people were concerned about racism or all these other lies. And so for the next 4 years, I just continued going out with my video camera. I thought, look, people can ignore what I write because of spin, but videos can quite speak for themselves. And in 2019, it led to me nearly losing my life. I was covering another Antifa protest turned riot. At that point, had been routine in Portland, and then I was ambushed in a mob beating. And I had never been in a fight. I didn't even realize that I was being assaulted until seconds in. And the punches came from everywhere on my head and my face, and I was bleeding out of my eyes and ears, and then they threw all the drinks in my eyes to humiliate me further and to laugh at me. And I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and CT scan, and I had subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain. I nearly died. And after surviving that, the reporting that I saw in liberal media it seemed to suggest that I had deserved it because they branded me far right. And some even went so far as to suggest that I maybe faked my injuries. A BuzzFeed reporter asked for my medical records, which I did provide, but this felt so, it's like because I didn't die in that attack, there was another round of people who wanted to finish me off. But I continued, and then 2020, Portland was really the epicenter of the longest political violence. Those months of riots, I was on the ground, undercover, and there was an assassination there. There was a supporter of Donald Trump named Aaron Danielson who was shot dead by a self-described Antifa member who then fled out of state and died in a shootout with US Marshals. In 2021, I returned undercover, naively thinking that enough time had passed, and was chased through the streets of downtown and beaten, nearly choked out. The person who was trying to choke me out held me so tightly that I had the blood, the vessels in my eyes burst. So one of the symptoms were my eyes were completely red after that, and I was hospitalized. So thank you so much for acknowledging Antifa and for directing your administration to treat them as domestic terrorists. It's going to be really challenging because how they organize is that they are decentralized, autonomous, and they operate on deception. And we're still to this day told that they don't exist, that it's a figment of our imagination. I think the DOJ could look at federal conspiracy charges. The state of California and San Diego County last year broke up an Antifa cell in San Diego. And I think maybe perhaps the State Department should designate Antifa, its international arm, as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO. So thank you so much for this invitation, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Andy. Great. That's a rough time you had, huh? So the chokeout was almost the end, you felt?
Yeah, that was my only near-death experience in my life, and I'm quite shaken when I think about it now. It really feels unbelievable to me that on the streets of America that this type of violence against citizens could become so routine and accepted and cheered on by people. Although, you know, in the immediate aftermath of Mr. Kirk's assassination, we saw again that type of depravity play out on quite large swaths of the left. So there's a deep sickness that's in this country right now, and it pains me a lot to acknowledge it.
Yeah, the amazing thing is you look at Portland, and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and, I mean, just violence. It's just so crazy. And then you talk to the governor, and she acts like everything is totally normal. There's nothing wrong. It's almost like, are you waking up from a dream or something? You see it on your network. You see it all over the place. And it's so bad. It's so crazy. It's like the movies you see for the kids. I guess not only the kids, adults also, where you have these bombed out cities and these bombed out people. It's like worse than that. I don't think they could make a movie as bad. And then the governor will get up and say, I don't know why they're coming here. It's such a wonderful place. And the amazing thing is the people want us to be there. The people, when they get the real people that live there, many of them have left, but the real people want us to be. The same thing in Chicago. So they've had 60, 70 murders over a short period of time. Murders, people that got shot. They've had hundreds of people shot, and then a guy like Pritzker, or this low IQ mayor, gets up. I mean, he got up, he's got a 5% approval rating, and the people are all against him. They want people to come. Beautiful black women are wearing a MAGA hat last night on television. Beautiful people. And they said, we don't care who comes, just stop the crime. They don't care, frankly, they don't care if it's National Guard, military. Send in anybody you want, stop the crime. And they're afraid to go out. They can't even go out. And then a guy like Pritzker, think of that, 50, 60, 70 people over a short period of time murdered, actually murdered, mostly gun violence, but knives, but gun violence, they're murdered, and hundreds of people shot. They had one weekend where they had like 18 murdered and 71 shot. But they said, you know what their excuse is? Yeah, but it was a long weekend. In other words, it was a long weekend, so that was okay. And then Pritzker gets up and he says, like, I don't know what they're talking about. We don't have crime here. They're crazy. I think actually they're petrified. You know, their families live there, everything else. I actually think they're scared. Pritzker was a failure in his family. They threw him out of the family business. Guy's a loser. But you know what? They actually, I believe they're scared. They're actually frightened for their lives. Jack, please say a few words.
Mr. President. Please chat. Engage in the chat. We're responding. There's stuff happening in the chat. And don't forget to like the video, please. It helps the video.
Antifa is real.
And it helps me a whole lot.
It has been around in various iterations for almost 100 years in some instances, going back to the Weimar Republic in Germany.
Yep.
And it's now been just under 1 month since we saw a far leftist murder Charlie Kirk, and we saw thousands upon thousands of people, other far leftists and people in positions of authority, people like nurses and pilots and doctors and HR departments celebrating the death and the murder of Charlie Kirk. This sickness that's out there is absolutely real. And Mr. President, thank you for mentioning the fact that one of the bullet casings read, "Hey fascist," catch on it. One of the other bullet casings right next to that had Bella Ciao written on it. Now, Bella Ciao is a song that is known in Antifa circles as the international anthem of Antifa. And all of us around the world, around this room that have studied Antifa, we're very familiar with these symbols. And Mr. President, I think the situation is getting worse. When you look at people like Luigi Maggioni, in his 20s, Thomas Matthew Crooks, of course, who took a shot at you, sir, the ICE shooter in Dallas, and now this Tyler Robinson, we're starting to see a pattern of more and more murderous violence. And this same violence is not just random. It is targeted assassinations, which are getting worse. And every single one of us in this room that goes out there, and obviously you as well, sir, and all the staff, we are now under that threat every single day. And working there at Turning Point USA, and I've spent just about the last month out there in Phoenix with Erica, with the family, with the team. And I will tell you this, Mr. President, even though going through something like that, which is an absolute nightmare, and people say, you know, what was it like to speak in front of all those people? It was horrible. Every second of it was horrible. But we're not going to quit. And Turning Point USA is continuing the tour that Charlie was on. We had 6,000 people when we went back to Utah. We had 5,000 people last night in Montana, if you can believe that. We are continuing to organize on campus. We are getting more and more people coming out in the face of this threat, knowing what happened to Charlie. But Mr. President, we need to do something about this, because I fear that the next one who could be killed could be sitting at this table right now. And we're not going to stop, but they need to stop, and they will not stop until they are stopped. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it very much. One thing I have to say is that Washington, D.C. was almost as bad. I don't know what could be worse than Portland. You don't even have stores anymore. They don't even put glass up. They put plywood on their windows, but most of the retailers have left. But Washington, D.C. was so bad, and Pam, I'd say it took 12 days to really make it pretty good, and a month to make it great. And now people are going out to dinner. The restaurants are booming. They don't have enough seats. They're opening up new restaurants because many of them closed. And people are walking down the street totally safe. A reporter, I'm not sure if she's there. I can't see somebody reported there. She is. She was violently assaulted. And I don't know, she tends to be somewhat liberal, but she wasn't liberal on this one. I appreciated your honesty, but that won't happen again. It won't happen again. You're lucky you're alive, frankly, with what happened. I know exactly what took place. So Washington, D.C., our capital, we thought we'd start there appropriately, and it's safe, and people are so happy. They're so happy. And now it's a couple of months. I went to dinner there. I felt totally safe. I gave a press conference right in the middle of the street, which I don't think Secret Service was thrilled about. But, you know, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted to do it 6 months ago. It's incredible what happened. Now we're in Memphis. As you know, we're having a great impact in Memphis. It's been only a week, but it's, Cash, I hear it's been amazing what's happening there, just very early. But you take a look at D.C. and you take a look at some of the other. We've had a big impact there. What we haven't said, because Pritzker said, well, crime is going down in Chicago. Well, 5 months ago, Cash went to Chicago with a lot of FBI agents just to prepare it so that we went in with, I guess you could call it a surge, call it whatever you want, but would be even more effective. And we're going to be doing that, and very, very strongly doing that, because Chicago is a very unsafe city. It's a great city. The head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, "Sir, please save Chicago. It's a great city. It can be saved." Other cities are gone. I mean, they're lost. They can get better, but they're just really, they've been so decimated. But I'm so proud of what they've done so quickly in D.C., and it's taking place quickly in Memphis, where we were asked to go by the mayor and by the governor. And it's really incredible what we can do and how fast we can do it. Let's go for two more. Would you like to go? And then Katie, you'll go. Okay, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, for having us here. And not to sound like a broken record, but it needs to be said that Antifa is real. Yeah. It's real. It's a threat. I just saw them last weekend over in Portland while they're causing mayhem over there. And the reason why they're such a big problem is because we have Democrats and a lot of people in the mainstream media refusing to acknowledge that they even exist, right? So how can we as a country begin to address it if we have large swaths of, these people who are supposedly decision makers and people who are supposed to inform, they don't want to say that it exists. Because the common argument is like, well, they're not a real organization because there's no national leadership, they don't have a national headquarters, so how can law enforcement go after a group that doesn't exist like that? Well, law enforcement goes after criminal groups that organize to rob banks or do smash and grabs. They don't have a registered LLC, they don't have official membership cards, they don't have a business address, but law enforcement still goes after them because they're working as a group. These people don't just show up, randomly at the same time to do the same thing, dressed in a very similar fashion, espousing the same ideology. And they say, well, it's an ideology. It's like, well, yes, it's an ideology because there's people alive, present, that believe in it, and they're acting on it. And so I've been very well aware of what Antifa's been doing. I was very busy during the riots in 2020. That was probably my most exposure to them prior to this year. I've been at the ICE facility at Broadview. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, unfortunately, but that's where I grew up around. Like I said, I was in Portland. I was covering the riots in Los Angeles as well. And probably one of the most disturbing parts about that is, in addition to Antifa being present, they were tagging the streets with CJNG, which is Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, which is a cartel. So you have these people who are working basically in concert with other terrorist groups to say that we're here, we're present, and we're gonna attack federal agents and people who are gonna expose what we do. And so, to be clear, political violence, sustained political violence that we're seeing in this country is not a both sides issue. I was, I was at Charlie Kirk's memorial in Glendale recently. Conservative gathering, totally peaceful. It was the most peaceful gathering that I've been at. Every other time that I've been covering violence in the streets, just this year, just this year, it's always been from left-wing people, radical left-wing people. And it's not even just Antifa anymore. The shooting that happened in, the defensive shooting that happened in the Chicago area, that wasn't someone dressed in black bloc. That was just somebody that had taken upon themselves to go out and try to interfere and ram federal vehicles. So people are becoming more and more radicalized, and it was to be expected, unfortunately. And the reason why we're in this position today is because after I was done covering the riots, I was at the border from the San Diego sector all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley sector, covering the border crisis month after month. And we all knew the solution to that. We all knew why it was happening. It's because, well, it's racist to have a border. It's like, well, actually it's not, but okay. And so it required you to come back into office and to fix the problem, but it's no longer just a border issue, it's a nationwide issue, and that's one of the reasons why you got elected back into office, because thankfully the American people said we're not going to deal with it anymore. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people, as we've seen, who are willing to take to the streets to do violence. And that's a scary thing, because typically when I was in 2020, I was covering Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, I was over in Chaz, and that was to be expected. But now, because the issue of immigration, illegal immigration is so widespread, riots can happen anywhere. Attacks can happen anywhere. So that's why it was weird kind of going back to my home state to cover this violence. I mean, just after the Dallas shooting, they were chanting outside Broadview, shoot ICE, shoot those, efforts, shoot those efforts. So I'll just leave that. Thank you so much again for having this. this is very dangerous. You know, we don't work for companies that have billions of dollars. You know, we're running and gunning often on our own. We became friends. A lot of us are friends because we would see each other all the time, and we became friends because we wanted to have someone watch our back while we're out there. Because like I said, we're just out there. And but we'll continue to do it because it's an important topic. It's an important issue. The American people deserve to know what's happening in these chaotic situations, and we're more than happy to do it. So thanks, sir.
Great job. Thank you very much. Katie, please.
Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor being here today, and I first wanted to start by thanking you guys for designating Antifa a terrorist group. It's exactly what this group is. It's a long time coming. I'm an investigative journalist from Seattle. I work for the Post Millennial alongside Andy No and Jack Posobiec. I have been infiltrating Antifa cells in Seattle and Portland for the past decade. I know their inner workings, and Antifa uses extreme political violence to crush the civil rights of their political enemies and believes that violence is justified by any means necessary. But today, I want to focus on what is happening in Portland at the ICE facility. I've been covering this for the past 4 months, and this is a call out to corporate media who has completely ignored this story or has falsely reported on it. This is nothing short other than a sustained attack on the United States, which is being supported by Democratic elected officials. The Portland Police Bureau has completely abandoned several blocks outside the ICE facility, giving away their jurisdiction to a terrorist group who has spent the past 4 months harassing, assaulting, and intimidating anyone they perceive to be against their cause. Not only have federal agents been relentlessly assaulted for more than 100 consecutive days, black-clad anarchist militants concealing their identities behind black facial coverings have been assaulting reporters just for trying to cover their crimes. Today, I am sitting here with a black eye and a concussion after being violently hit in the face with a metal pole while reporting outside the ICE facility just this past week. After the attack, I immediately went to three Portland police officers who refused to detain the suspect. I took the time to chase down the suspect in the streets, had her held for 35 minutes. I was waiting for Portland police to come, and they never came. Then that's what opened my eyes to what this group is actually doing. I watched 20 Antifa militants help my assault suspect escape into an Antifa safe house that is 1 block away from the ICE facility. And this safe house is where Antifa affiliated protesters are conducting paramilitary operations. It's where they're arresting, they're showering, they're eating to continue this occupation. I have staked out this safe house and have observed shift changes. This group is highly organized. It is being funded through mutual aid groups, and they have no plans of stopping. Residents living across the ICE facility have been held hostage by Antifa. They're begging for federal intervention. The city refuses to help, and they want you, President Trump, to come in and restore law and order. I want to stress the importance of taking this situation seriously, because when I first started reporting on this occupation, I went undercover in Black Bloc. I talked to these Antifa militants. I lasted for about a month. They believe that ICE agents are the Nazi Gestapo who need to be killed. They told me that directly, and I think that if this situation is not taken as seriously as it is, it's just a matter of time before someone gets killed. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Katie. That's pretty incredible. The only question nobody can answer is why. Why are they doing this? They're like insurrectionists. They're terrible.
If you're watching and you haven't liked the video, please like the video. It helps out, please.
What are they gaining other than they're obviously paid? They're paid a lot of money. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, if I can answer that question, the reason why they're doing it is because the same media that's sitting in this room with us has declared all of us at this table Nazis and fascists, and they've been doing this for years. This is why Antifa feels emboldened to attack us. Now, almost every single person at this table has been threatened with a steel bat. We've been assaulted, we've been harassed, we've been threatened, and that is in huge part due to the media. So my message right now is for you guys, because 2 years ago or back in 2020, by the way, I was censored for my reporting on Antifa here in Washington, D.C. You were talking about how safe it is now, Mr. President. It wasn't so safe back then. Back in 2020, I watched as a father was being mobbed and surrounded by Antifa members as his terrified, crying children looked on and the police here did nothing. I watched as a woman had her hair violently ripped out of her skull simply for waving an American flag on the streets of Washington, D.C. And by the way, if you guys try to go and find any of this footage, you won't find any of it because Twitter deleted all of it because our president shared my reporting and they deleted my entire account immediately after. So now, if you want to know what happened in 2020, all you're going to see is the media headlines that said that it was fiery but mostly peaceful. Thanks for that one, CNN. The reality is that it was an extremely violent period of time, and for the last 10 years, Antifa has been wreaking havoc on law-abiding and innocent American citizens, and it needs to end. Now, I'm with Turning Point USA. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President. Thank you guys so much, everybody in the administration, for giving us a seat at the table, because the media has not only been demonizing us for so long, but immediately after the brutal assassination of our founder, Charlie Kirk, our Turning Point USA chapters have seen an uptick in violence across the nation as Antifa chapters that are embedded in our universities go and target them.
Yeah.
It's been extremely difficult to report on the ground, and for a long time I was afraid to go to Portland because I knew that the only people who would have my back, like Julio said, were one of my friends on the ground because there is no police force there. I was terrified to go because I knew if I got shot or stabbed, and I have been assaulted, I've been mobbed and robbed in Austin, Texas by Antifa, that nobody would come to help me. So my plea to the entire administration, especially to the DOJ, is every single radical left-winger who is in front of the ICE facility in Chicago, in New York, in Portland, please make sure that you use the full force of the law to come after each and every single one of them, because it is us being soft on left-wing violence that has fomented all of the terror that we have seen in this country, and it is the left-wing getting away time and time again with assaulting law-abiding American citizens that has led us to this place. So truly, to the Americans that I speak to on the ground, they feel completely abandoned by their state and local government. So please step in. You have Americans begging for the National Guard. And to the media over here, please report on the truth. Please do your jobs. I'm an American citizen. Everybody at this table simply views ourselves as American citizens who have an iPhone and the will to actually tell the truth. So please take your job seriously and tell the truth to the American people. And thank you for letting me be here on behalf of Charlie to continue his legacy of cleaning up the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Say yes in the chat if you agree with what she just said. I totally agree.
I'm mad. I got beaten up so many times, honestly. Mr. President. My friends have gotten beaten up, and I want to cry right now from happiness because we have been completely ignored for so long. For almost 10 years, we've been getting assaulted on the streets. I have watched children cry as their parents have been attacked on the streets. That should not be happening at our nation's capital. So please, again, the DOJ, please utilize the full force and go after each and every single one of these people.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Great job. Impassioned. That's important because you should feel like that. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you for having us here and bringing together this panel of brave journalists, everybody on this side of the room. And no one can speak to the violence better than these people here. So I think we know that this is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President. This is a money story. And at the Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc. And we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros network, the Open Society network, it's other funding networks, the Arabella funding network, the Tides funding network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash. And it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money into this entire ecosystem. And so I want to share 3 money facts with you about what we call Riot Inc. Number 1, like any corporation, Riot Inc. has many divisions. It doesn't just have the Antifa boots on the ground division. It has PR divisions. It has marketing divisions. It has a very well-funded legal division to get these boots on the ground back on the streets as quickly as possible. But it does have those investors that I mentioned. Number 2, we have identified dozens of radical organizations, not just the decentralized Antifa organizations, but dozens of radical organizations that have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, et cetera. And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including at least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but there was an event in Atlanta called Stop Cop City. Over 60 rioters were charged with domestic terrorism. These groups received money for that from both the billionaire class as well as taxpayer money. So one other thing, this money helps fund the decentralized crowdfunding platforms. These are ways that Antifa, the John Brown Gun Club of Elm Fork, which had links to that attack on the ICE facility, the Socialist Rifle Association, and just because they don't have LLCs or EIN numbers doesn't mean they can't get paid. Some of these funding platforms, crowdfunding platforms, are funded by this network that we call rioting. So again, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the whole cabinet's leadership on this. We're going to keep following the money and appreciate everything you're doing, sir.
Do you know the name of any of the funders? Do you know the names? Because if you do, I'd like you to give them to Cash or Pam.
Absolutely.
Or Christy.
Yeah, we'll do that.
As soon as you can. That's all of you. Because you probably know the names after a certain period of time.
Do you think there will be arrests?
But these
Okay,
are
put it in
people
the
that do
chat.
not
Do you
have
think
good
there will be
intention for the
arrests
country.
after this conference? I'm waiting for arrests.
Treasonous, probably. So if you could, very important, if you could do that, that would be great. Nobody would know better than you. You'll figure it out. Thank you. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Nick Shirley. I'm 23 years old. I'm a 100% independent YouTube journalist. And over the past year or so, I've been able to go to 15 countries. I've hung out with people in the gangs of Brazil, in the favelas, in the prisons of Secot. But yet the most dangerous places I have been here in the United States, unfortunately. And I've had the opportunity to show people about the protest Antifa here in the United States, and there's nothing organic about what they are doing here in the United States. I've watched people be bussed in from states. I've watched the same lady at a protest in Atlanta be bused to a protest in DC and then in New York City. There's nothing that is honest about what they are doing. And they have signs, I've seen the same signs here in DC and in London as well. It's a big organization and corporation that they're running. And people may wonder, like, what's the threat to us as Americans if we go? Well, you'll be labeled as a fascist, you'll be labeled as a Nazi, and they'll wish death upon you, because they wish death upon me. And just last week in Portland, Oregon, I watched a lady get trapped in her car, surrounded by Antifa, and her sister messaged me after seeing the video. She said, the only reason I think my sister was safe is because you were there recording. I also was chased out by a member of Antifa who said he would smoke me. And next thing he knew, a DHS sniper had lasers on his chest. If he was not there, who knows what would have happened that day. These people are very dangerous, and people wonder how they're able to do it. It's the reason is because these cities are not enforcing the law. And why should these people be worried if the law is not being enforced? And we are not far right, nor are we far wrong. We're just right. And the truth about what's happening here in America with these groups is very dangerous, and I thank you, Mr. President, and your administration as well for acknowledging that.
Thank you very much. It's too bad you have to go through it.
I know, it's a little crazy, right, Mr. President?
Well, you're going to get to the bottom of it, so it's a very important thing you're doing. Thank you very much. Please, Cam.
Yeah, I've just got something very short. I'm attacked every time I do my job. When I leave my house to go to work, I am violently assaulted. I've had guns pulled on me. I've been bear sprayed. I've been beaten down. I've been almost killed. So my question for all of you is, how would you feel if every time you showed up to work, masked militants tried to kill you? Because that's how we feel. That's our lived reality. And you guys go and tell us that we're liars, the riots aren't that bad, right? I've never seen any of you guys on the ground. In fact, I've never seen anybody representing the companies you work for on the ground. You guys come to us for interviews that never get published. Stop saying we're lying. We're not. We risk our lives every day to do the job that you guys are too afraid to do.
What network would you say is the worst, if I could ask?
Oh man, that's a real tight spot.
Honestly, it's a simple question. And
well, there's a lot of people in this pool, and I would say I'm not talking about Fox. I'm not talking about Newsmax or any outlet that resembles them, so I'll let you guys put the pieces together on who I'm exactly
Who would
talking
you
about.
say? Which network? would you say?
MSNBC for sure. CNN.
CBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rate it that way. Yeah, MSNBC. That's Brian Roberts.
Yeah.
That he allows that to happen is a disgrace.
Absolutely.
And CNN is second.
Yeah.
I would say CNN is not quite as bad as MS.
MSNBC is not really a news site anymore.
Oh, MSNBC is sick. They're sick.
Well, sir, it's
who
also
else?
just the story.
Guys, what do you think of MSNBC? Put it in the chat.
ICE enforcement operations that are so heavily slanted that it's no longer, as I was saying, no longer just Antifa, but Americans that are becoming radicalized. So they've been very irresponsible with how they've been reporting.
Who is
on
that?
MSNBC, for example.
Would you rate them the worst?
Probably. They
who
ran
would
a
you
story-
rate the worst?
Well, they ran a story about an operation in Southern California about how a father of 3 Marines was arrested, and they made it seem like they just did it because he's brown. But there's video of that same man charging at the agents with a weed whacker. Now, I've worked with weed whackers back in the day, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of one of those. So that's why he was arrested, but the story was presented as if it's a brown guy just simply being arrested. And I've been around ICE agents, and I'm a citizen, so I feel fine. But it's just, that's why. It's not just Antifa. It's not happening in a vacuum. It's
No, it's working in conjunction. I think they work in conjunction with some of the media. I think ABC is very bad. I think NBC is very bad. And CBS has a new owner, so we have hope for CBS. CBS has a great new owner, my opinion. But I will tell you, ABC is terrible. NBC is terrible. NBC's MSNBC too. They changed it. They moved it over legally so they couldn't be tainted by the words MSNBC, but they are absolutely terrible. There are a lot of them. What about independents? Independent networks.
They're a little bit better, but I would say that we're an example of how you don't need to be part of a super large company to be able to do just basic journalism. All you got to do is sit and record, and you'll let the story play out. And that's why they hate us. That's why Antifa
Well, I
targets
watched
us.
a level of dishonesty that's incredible, where answers are changed. Like just before the election, an answer was changed by Kamala. She gave a horrible, death-defying, election-defying answer. And they took the answer out and they replaced it with another answer that she gave 5 minutes later, having to do with a different subject, but at least it wasn't election defying. Yeah, no, the level of dishonesty with the media is incredible, whether it's on Antifa or many of the other groups. You're talking about Antifa, and I know that's close to your heart because that's the one that's most affecting you, but there are others that are as bad or almost as bad as Antifa, having to do with different people, different sections of the world, but it's terrible. We're not going to let it go on in this country. We're not going to let it go on. And a big problem is not all of them, but some of the networks out there. And you do wonder why. You really do. Okay, please. Go ahead, yeah.
Mr. President, thank you again. My name's Jonathan Cho. I am an investigative reporter for Frontlines Turning Point USA. I'm also a senior fellow at Discovery Institute in Seattle. And I cover far-left extremism as well as the homeless drug crisis in America. And I find it oftentimes those worlds intersect. And hot off the presses, what I wanted to bring to your attention today is a report from a Capital Research Center here in DC in conjunction with Discovery Institute. They just put out this study right now. And what it shows is that Antifa is heavily embedded in the homeless and housing nonprofit sector. In many cases, the homeless industrial complex is running cover for Antifa. Antifa is benefiting from American tax dollars, and they're essentially being used as the muscle. Let me give you an example. There's a group called Stop the Sweeps in many U.S. cities right now. They get in front of encampment sweeps. What they're doing quietly is they're bringing in Antifa militants to manufacture a crisis to make the police look bad. Another group right now that is behind Antifa and working with Antifa very closely, based on the research that we have right now that we're going to give to you and your team, are the Democratic Socialists of America, also known as DSA. Again, these far-left progressive groups tend to be aligning themselves with Antifa. So finally, in closing, what I wanted to thank you again, Mr. President, is that a few months ago, earlier this year, you put out an executive order on homelessness and the drug addiction crisis in America, and that's sent the entire homeless industrial complex on the run. You have absolutely moved the needle and changed the game. But what's also come out, again, is that there is a connection, a deeply embedded connection with the homeless housing nonprofit game in America, connected to Antifa and the far-left activists. And finally, I just wanted to say that all of our resources at Turning Point USA and Discovery Institute are at your disposal, and we will continue again to carry on the legacy of Charlie Kirk. He would have wanted us to pursue and chase the story.
Well, he was a good friend of mine, as you know, and he helped us get elected. Us, it really is us. It's even some of them, but not too many of them, not enough of them. And did you notice when we mentioned CNN and MSDNC, the cameras went off. 2 of the cameras immediately went off, but they're not going to cover it anyway. The problem we have is that this is a very important meeting, but you'll see very little press about it. These are major statements being made by major people, including the people right here, and you're not going to see too much about it. They don't like to cover this kind of thing. So it's very dishonest what's going on there. I think the press is a big factor. Please, go ahead. Thank you, James.
Mr. President, thank you so much for having us all here to bring attention to this matter. You did mention MSDNC, CNN, a handful of those other outlets that have been lying about, various things, but especially what ICE, the brave men and women over at ICE have been doing. I was talking to Antifa members in Portland the other day, and a lot of these people genuinely believe, they buy these lies, and they genuinely believe that they're fighting against literal Nazis and not brave men and women that are putting their lives on the line to basically, enforce basic immigration law, right? That everyone seemed to agree with up until maybe a few years ago, a handful of years ago. So once again, thank you so much for having me. My name is James Klug. While my primary job is traveling around the country, having conversations with Americans about various political topics and issues, I have had a lot of run-ins with Antifa over the last 5 years. And I do think that Antifa is a primary reason why many conservatives are afraid to go out and protest and make their voices heard and maybe bring friends and family to a demonstration and exercise their First Amendment right, because they are literally deathly afraid. And I talk to these people all the time. They're afraid of militants showing up in black bloc and hurting them and their families. And, I've personally witnessed Antifa assaulting hundreds of police officers. I've witnessed them firebombing police departments and federal property. I've witnessed them making death threats against federal agents, police officers, journalists. I think I've witnessed every single person here, maybe not personally, but I've seen them get, hunted down and attacked. And so, this is a group that is responsible for a good percentage, if not a majority, of the violent riots in 2021 and 2020, when Democrat mayors had a kind of a hands-off approach with these left-wing militants. Just as a quick reminder for everybody, we're talking about dozens of murders that happened in those riots. We're talking about billions of dollars of damage to property and communities all over the country. We're talking about thousands of officer injuries. So this isn't just like some little thing that they're, they punch a journalist here and there. No, they're responsible for a lot of damage and a lot of people that have, unfortunately died and basically suppressing people's voices, And so what I did want to talk about is to get this footage, almost every single person in the room here, to get this footage, you have to go undercover because you are at risk of being beaten or worse. You have to go undercover. You have to film low key to capture them committing crimes. This is stuff that the mainstream media was not doing and has not been doing. They'll show when Antifa is maybe, it's a little bit more peaceful, and they'll show when it's more mellow, but they'll remove the cameras when things get violent and it's actually dangerous to be here. And I have personally witnessed legacy media vans showing up at a riot 300 yards away, getting out of the vehicle, filming for 30 seconds, saying something like, fiery but mostly peaceful, packing up, and to add insult to injury, you have Democrat politicians that are saying, it's just an idea, right? That's all this is, so it's just an idea. After all of this chaos, it's just an idea. Well, that idea has threatened to kill me and many of my friends that are here today. So, Mr. President, thank you so much for bringing this to the forefront, and it's definitely making a big change. Really appreciate you.
One question. So why is it there are numerous groups, the like button. Antifa's terrible, but you have other groups that I guess probably are almost as bad or just as bad. Not one other group was mentioned. I'm sort of surprised at that. You just come into contact with Antifa. It seems to be that you mostly come into contact with Antifa, please.
There's a lot of overlap, and I would say that, for instance, Jonathan brought up the Democratic Socialists of America. They're basically the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of Democratic Socialists of America who are out there in black bloc, hiding their faces. And so I think we use, and I do understand, for the record, I do understand the challenge, as Andy pointed out, with Antifa as a graspable entity. I do. But at the end of the day, when you look at behavior, you prosecute behavior, right? We're not prosecuting ideas or ideology, you're prosecuting behavior. So whether you can prove that this amorphous thing is Antifa or someone has a patch that says Antifa, it doesn't matter. Did they assault someone? Did they assault a federal agent? Were they engaged in rioting? What is it? And so they're always using that, oh, well, they don't call themselves Antifa, even though some of them literally do. It's called Rose City Antifa. How long has it been around in Portland, Andy?
Since 2007.
They call themselves Antifa. In Seattle, I was outside the federal building, and they were yelling, there's no police here, this is Antifa land. And then at the same time, Democrats, like our governor, oh, Antifa is an idea. But yeah, I think Antifa can overlap with a lot of other entities and organizations.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
President Trump, I just wanted to add this real quick, because you were asking which mainstream media outlet is the worst. What I think, it's any of them that decided to call Kilmar Abrego Garcia Maryland's dad. Because when I'm out there on the street talking to these people, they call him Maryland dad is this human, he's actually a human trafficking MS-13 gang member that's illegally in the country. But the amount of people on the street that I spoke with that thought that he was a U.S. citizen that was being deported to Uganda is dangerous. These people genuinely believe, based on what comes out of the garbage standing over here, that you guys are deporting U.S. citizens. So that's
and they're still saying it.
Governor like Pritzker in Chicago. Where you have Illinois, which is in a lot of trouble. Chicago's there, potentially a great city again. It's not great now, but it could be great again. That's why we have to get there soon, because eventually you can't do that. What makes a man like that say that things are wonderful? Why doesn't he say, we love that President Trump is going to come and help us clean up Chicago and make it safe again, as opposed to fighting us and pretending that there weren't 50 murders and 200 shootings and all of that? Why is that? Go ahead, Nick.
To spite you. To spite the administration. That's simply what it's about at this point. Because, if you go and talk to some of these citizens, like I'll use Portland as an example again, because I've been there for so long now. You talk to the neighbors that live in the apartments next door to the ICE facility. There are veterans with PTSD that live there, and they're here all night long, screaming, fireworks being lit off by these rioters, children crying because they, can't sleep at night and they're scared of all the noise outside, and they can't leave. They they got a lease. You can't just leave. These people aren't wealthy individuals, and that's one of the major problems here. And these people are afraid to come out and speak out. And they're getting no help from their government at all. They've been begging for the noise ordinance to be enforced outside of their apartment complex for months now, and the city of Portland has ignored them every single time. The victims are, as I said, they're afraid, but the governments aren't doing anything because they want to spite the administration. It's all political.
And the politicians make you feel like you're foolish, like there's something wrong. How could President Trump be saying that about Chicago? And yet the night before you see that, 11 people were shot, 5 people died, and you have him talking about like it's a wonderful situation. They make you feel guilty. And a lot of people don't get over that. They just don't get over it. I think they convince the people. Do wealthy people leave too or not? Places like Portland, are the wealthy people leaving? People that can leave, are they leaving?
I think that they're moving to the areas that have been gentrified. I mean, the Oregon governor, when she was saying, we don't need Trump here, she's walking around, it's a very tight shot, if you notice that. And she said, Portland's just fine, look at me. And they'll focus on the couple areas of Portland that are very nice. Well, she was saying that,
and there were explosions in the background.
Yeah. I mean, there was a reason they cropped it in.
Explosions in the background. Anybody have anything else to say?
Evil. Please, if you haven't, please subscribe Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like the
questions, or
video.
is it just a
And
waste of time?
leave questions in the chat.
They're going to ask questions.
I would like to answer some questions
Well,
or at least have
he's
some
good.
conversations.
But you know what?
Thanks, Yatsias,
It's a waste of time
311
because
for your comments. Thank you.
if you give a great answer, they don't put it on. If you give a horrendous answer, or even if you give a great answer, they make it sound like it's not a great answer. They're very dishonest. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, and I think part of that dishonesty comes from what they see. For instance, I've never been asked to go on any other show besides Fox News. My clips go viral everywhere, but they've never even asked, like CNN's never asked, MSNBC's never asked. And a lot of times when I go to hotels, I'll stay and I'll watch like MSNBC.
Fortunately, their ratings are terrible.
They are terrible.
MSNBC is dying, and CNN is dying like a dog.
And
poor CNN, it's so pathetic.
It is very
You
pathetic.
ever see their anchors in the evening?
Sorry, you can't hear me.
Nobody ever heard of them. Where do these people come? I could take anybody off the street in Washington, D.C. that do a better job.
Yeah, and it's not
amazing.
hard to show what's going on these days. You literally have an iPhone and you can post it on X.
They don't believe in the star system, you know. It's just one of those things, right? Okay, Nick, you finished, Nick?
Yeah,
Are
thank
you
you very
finished,
much.
Nick? Good job. Thank you very much. Well, you've been through hell, I tell you that, but you're really incredible patriots, incredible people. Go ahead, please, Brian. Brian, go ahead.
I'm so thankful for each and every one of you here right now, and I'm very grateful that my network, Real American Voice, has partnered up with many of you. Jack and Sylvan, you have a show on a network. Many of you, Savannah, have appeared on a network as well. So thank you for being here.
All right, I'll say what I said earlier, but let's hear the questions, okay? Thanks for letting me know that my volume was low. Thank you.
Vote tomorrow to basically waive a $120,000 fee so that a No Kings, basically an anti-Trump rally, can occur in their city. They're bypassing the fees, rolling it to the taxpayers. So my question is to you, what can the people of Austin, Texas do right now to make sure that their tax dollars don't fund a No Kings anti-Trump rally coming up?
Well, you just tell me, I would love to do something about that. Bring a lawsuit, do something. You know, the best thing you can do is have honest elections, because the elections are totally rigged in so many of these places. You know, you take a look, the people, they're all loving you. They can't breathe. They love so much, every one of them. You don't see one negative, then all of a sudden you lose the election by 20 points. The elections are
so
rigged.
real quick, what I was saying is, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It helps out a whole lot. And like the video and share the video, please. It's a request, okay? And if you would like to support the channel, there's a link pinned to support the channel financially if you can. It's not a must. I enjoy doing this and engaging with you guys, so it's fine. But just consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and supporting the channel. Thanks.
You need borders. Wait. You need borders. You need honest media. You need honest elections, and you have a great country, and you need all three of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Lieutenant had ties to all these radical groups that you talked about inside here. So thank you for removing.
I would like you to make a big deal, though, if they're waiving a fee, but I guarantee they wouldn't waive it if it was it's not Trump. If it were a conservative rally, they wouldn't be waiving it. So maybe you can look into that, Pam. Todd? That sounds like one for Todd, Pam. Go ahead, Todd. Good luck.
I am with
what network?
I'm with Al Arabiya. It's an Arabic network based in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. But I am the foreign ruler today. Mr. President, you said that you might go to the Middle East on Sunday. Do you mean Egypt and Israel? And would you consider going to Gaza to see what things are on the ground?
I would. I might do that. I may do that. We haven't decided exactly. I'll be going to Egypt most likely. That's where everybody is gathered right now, and we appreciate that very much. But I'll be making the rounds, as the expression goes. I probably will.
Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, you said you might go to Gaza. You're saying that's the first topic. I'm representing the TV pool, but I'm with NBC, so.
That's too bad.
Okay. Well, just to clarify, you said you might go to Gaza, and then the second question I had earlier today, you said the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois should be jailed. Have you asked the Justice Department to look at possible charges?
No, I've seen the law, and when you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal. What they did is I guess it was ICE, Christie, right? They were under threat, and the police were helping beautifully, and it was fine, and then all of a sudden, a woman was on the line saying, everybody, move back, get out, and they were given an order by the second person in the police department, and the governor knew about it, the mayor knew about it. I understand that's a criminal offense. Do you want to comment on that, Christy?
Yes, sir, we're seeing that kind of pattern happen with local law enforcement and state law enforcement, not just in Illinois, but also out in Oregon, too. In fact, in Portland, I was there yesterday, but some of the ICE officers were telling me that as they drove by the rioters that were saying, kill ICE agents, Molotov cocktails, melt ICE, that the Portland police were cheering them on and had their fists in the air cheering on the rioters that were threatening their lives. So in Chicago, we had a 10-car caravan trail our ICE officials and pin them down. And those ICE officials, to get out of their vehicles, a woman tried to ram them and run them over, and shots were fired to get them to safety. So it's happening on a regular basis, and any elected official that allows this to happen and gives cover to those kind of individuals who are perpetuating murder should absolutely be prosecuted, in my opinion.
Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And by the way, we have Marco Rubio. Marco, come on up here, please. He's going to bring a little stability to this group. Come on up. Does everybody know Marco Rubio? Is there anybody that doesn't? Some of the reporters don't. That's why they shouldn't be reporters.
Which job is he here for today,
Come on up here, Marco. Anything we should know about the Middle East?
That's what we're hoping to talk to you about here, Mr. President.
He's doing a good job. He was born for this job, I can tell you. Daniel, please.
Mr. President, thank you very much. I have two questions for you, if that's okay. Seamus talked a little bit about the money aspect of this. Do you believe if you go after where the money is coming from with Antifa, in regards to Antifa, do you believe that would be similar to cutting the head off the snake, so to speak? And
it would help. I don't know that it would be totally complete, but it would certainly... you'd knock out 75%, 80%, 80%.
Yes, they will.
These people, a lot of them don't believe it. You know, when I watch them, I say, I can almost tell a pro they're like professionals. That's all they do. And they get paid by somebody. I think it would knock out a lot of it. Yeah, not all of it maybe, but a lot of it.
And then a follow-up to that is, a lot of the people who we've listened to over the last hour, they've emphasized that Antifa, it's not necessarily this big organized thing. It's a bit ambiguous. It's deorganized. I think that's one of the words that Andy used. What is the challenges of going after a group that makes it intentionally difficult to go after and find? That could be for you, the Attorney General, anyone up there.
Well, they're smart people, and they deceive. A lot of them are crooked people. A lot of them have been staying out of trouble their whole lives, and they've been bad from the day they were born, frankly. But these are sick people.
I said that earlier today.
Well, they're smart, but they're not smart enough. Oh, my microphone's broken. They're smart, but they're not smart enough. They have been covered by these liberal cities for so many years. And that's why we're all working with Treasury, with all these different departments, to find the criminal conspiracy.
Okay. I'm just giving... I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East.
Cool. And
they're going to need me pretty quickly, so I will take a couple of more questions. Please.
Thank you, sir. I also have two questions for you, if I may. Have you given any more thought to possibly suspending habeas corpus to not only deal with these insurrectionists across the nation, but also to continue rapidly deporting illegal aliens?
Yeah, it's suspending who?
Habeas corpus, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I'd rather leave that to Christy. What do you think?
No, sir, I haven't been a part of any discussions on that.
All right, go ahead.
In the ceasefire.
This is CNN speaking, by the way. So, this is one of the worst reporters that you'll ever. I don't even want to take a question. It's a waste of time.
How will you decide which workers get back pay and which workers do not?
Well, we're going to see. Most of them are going to get back pay, and we're going to try and make sure of that. But some of them are being hurt very badly by the Democrats, and they therefore won't qualify. Go ahead, please.
What will the administration do to foreign Antifa organizers and funders who are located overseas?
Go ahead, in the yellow, please.
So the Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday. You've been nominated by many world
By many, many countries, that's
many
right.
countries, as well as the hostage families. Do you think you will win?
I have no idea. I mean, look, I did
Please, if you have questions or commentary, please put them in the chat. We'll quickly take them when he's done, and then we'll wrap up. I would love to have a chat with you for about 5 minutes after this is over, so please consider sticking around.
In Russia, between Russia and Ukraine. I think we'll settle that. So I don't think anybody in history has settled that many, but perhaps they'll find a reason not to give it to me, you know? Perhaps they will. Thank you.
Going to the shutdown quickly, what is your position on the extension of health care subsidies, which is what Democrats are asking for?
Well, all I want to do is very simple. I want to get the country open, and then we're going to discuss that. And we'd like to, Obamacare is a horrible mess, and it has been from the beginning. We want to make it better, stronger, even if it costs more money, we want to make it better. The Democrats want to make it worse. The Democrats want to approve health care for illegals coming into our country, many of them coming in from prisons and mental institutions and drug dealers. They want to give them health care. We don't want that for our people because that's going to destroy the health care that we already have. We'd like to make Obamacare better for people, less expensive and better health care. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, I'm wondering if you've been briefed on the organization and funding of Antifa, and if so, what have you learned?
I have been, and they have pretty good knowledge, but they're going to have a very good knowledge. And I really ask these very brave patriots that we're surrounded with today to let us know, because I think you probably have some pretty good ideas. And even if you're not sure, let us know and we'll figure it out, okay? If you could do that. You're from Italy?
No, I'm from France. Can you specify how close we are to the deal? Would that be announced today, tomorrow? And do you want to see the hostages released before you travel to the region?
No, I think I'll probably go maybe before the hostages are released or shortly thereafter, pretty much shortly thereafter. Yeah, please.
Participating in the negotiation.
Go ahead. Who are you with?
The Center Square. I had the honor of asking you originally if you would designate Antifa a terror organization. And I stand here before you today, and I'm echoing what Andy said over here. Are you going to work with your administration, as the Secretary of State's here, are you going to work with your administration to designate it a foreign terror organization?
You mean a terror?
Antifa? A foreign terror organization.
Well, has that been done? Pretty close, right? Would you like to see it done?
Yes, Mr. President.
You think it would help?
They have foreign links
I'd be glad
all
to
across
do it. I
Western
think it's
Europe.
the kind of thing I'd like to do. If you'd like, does
Middle
everybody
East.
agree? If you agree, let's get it done, okay? Let's get it done. Marco, we'll take care of it.
Mr. President.
That's international, you mean?
Yes.
International.
Mr. President.
Sounds good to me.
Foreign terror organization.
Steve, are you okay with it?
It's true, there are extensive foreign ties, and I think that would be a very valid step to take.
Good, I think so too.
Yes.
Good, I think it's a good point. Thank you.
President Trump, are you planning on only participating in this?
On the shutdown, we are now about 1 week away from military service members missing their paychecks.
We'll always take care of our military.
Would you encourage Congress to pass a standalone bill to pay our service members?
Yeah, that probably will happen. We don't have to worry about it yet. That's a long time. You know what 1 week is for me? An eternity. 1 week for me is a long time. We'll take care of it. Our military is always going to be taken care of. Yeah, please. Blue dress, blue.
President, Rebecca with Blaze News. I'm curious to know, so you're talking about the money funding these Antifa organizations, and somebody brought up Roy Singham, I think it was you, who, by the way, is married to one of the co-founders of Code Pink, this infamous left-wing organization. I'm curious to know the administration.
Who is that? Who is that?
Singham, he's married to.
No, did you say they're here?
No, he's not. A journalist brought him up, but.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jameis, thank you.
Good bring up.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
He's somebody who's been reported on extensively, and I'd love to know what the administration is going to do to actually bring consequences to some of these names you mentioned.
Well, I don't know the name, but I would like to ask Pam to take a look at it. You know, a lot of the best information we find are through you and other people like you, so I'd like you to look at it, Pam. In the back, please.
President Trump, it's been actually very
compelling proof that Antifa did infiltrate on January 6th, dressed up like Trump supporters and incited violence. Is that something that you would want the new J6 committee at Congress to look into?
Well, I've heard that. They dress up like, they're fresh out of MAGA, but they have nothing to do with MAGA. And they make trouble and they try and blame it. And yeah, we know some of that and we will be acting on some of that. We've seen it. So I think you could stay a little longer, but the problem is, although you have some very honest journalists in here, you also have some largely dishonest journalists like MSDNC and CNN. I think they're very dishonest, unbelievably, like a waste of time even talking to them. But I have to go now to try and solve some problems in the Middle East, although I'm very well represented by our Secretary of State. He could probably do an even better job than me. But who knows? We don't want to take any chances, so we're going to go and do that. If you'd like, Pam, would you like to stay for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes while we have all these great people? And I'll let Pam and Christy take over and get some good points out. I just want to thank the people around the table.
It looks like there'll be more questions,
amazing.
so
You've
we'll be
been
sticking
brave.
around.
You're real
Thanks, Jennifer, for the comments.
At some point, we're going to have to look into at least
amazing if that happens.
Rewarding you with some very important.
Everyone else, please get in on the chat, leave your comments and questions. We're going to talk about it for about 5 minutes before we shut down.
Which is our highest award outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I think they're sort of even. One's civilian and one's military. But unfortunately, the civilian sometimes is military also because of what we have to go through on the streets of this country. I can only tell you this. We have a great nation. We have a nation that's right now the hottest in the entire world. We're the hottest nation in the world, despite all of the things we've been saying today. But that's going to make your job easier because nobody's doing better than we are financially. We've never done better. We've had, I think, 58 stock market increases since I've been top, meaning record increases. We have never seen anything like it, and we're going to keep it going. That makes it a little bit easier for what we're doing. I guess maybe it also makes some people crazy because they don't want to see us do well. But we're the hottest nation anywhere in the world, and we were a dead nation 1 year ago. I say it all the time. We were a dead nation. Now we're the hottest nation in the world, and that's said too by every leader. One of the reasons that we have every country already signed up or just about to sign, every country in the world on this whole mess we have going over with Hamas and the Middle East and all of the things you see, is they respect our nation. A year ago, you wouldn't have been able to get it. You certainly couldn't have gotten it with Biden. You didn't know where the hell he was. But a year ago, you wouldn't have been able to have a situation like this. So I just want to thank the people around this table, and certainly the officials around the table, because they've been incredible. They've been brave. And I watched yesterday, Pam, and I watched a little bit. I thought it was so good. I rounded up and I watched it late in the evening because I thought you were fantastic yesterday. You really, look, we had some wonderful senators, some great politicians asking you very fair questions, and you had some real slime balls. But I thought you were amazing, so thank you very much. And Christy, thanks for the great job. Cash, thanks for the great job. Always my man back down there. He's the silent type, but he's a hell of a lawyer. Thank you all. We're going to get peace in the Middle East. That's what we want to do. Thank you very much, everybody.
We're sticking around because there's going to be more questions. I think Pam Bondi and a few of them will still be around. There'll be more questions, so we're sticking around. So let's hang in. Okay. Is the AP shutting down? Well, let's see. Meanwhile, I want to give a shout out to everyone who's been engaging in the chat. All right. I want to give a shout out to starting with Yaz 311, Pal Reason on the main channel, Jennifer dropped a bomb, okay, and it seems like Associated Press doesn't think that there's anything to see there because Trump has left the building. So all right, so I want to give a shout out to all of you. Thank you so much. You made this live stream amazing. Powell Reason on the main channel, Jennifer on the main channel, Yaz 31 on the main channel. On the backup channel. And yeah, so I'll just repeat my answers. Jennifer said if he really went through with designating the foreign branches of Antifa as terrorist organizations, then it will give room, or it will open the door for the military to engage them regardless of where Antifa is found. And I say yes, bring it on. I agree. Yad Yaz has been on fire in the comments section. Yad Yaz was just promoted to moderator today. So you guys give Yad Yaz the 311 a shout out in the comment section, in the chat, because he's been amazing today. Jennifer, thank you for the comment about, so she said if Antifa, she said she'd always viewed Antifa as the brown shirts, the Yahtzee brown shirts in the modern age. And I literally had said this on 2 live streams. I said it yesterday and I said it in the previous live stream. This is the playbook of people who claim that the Republican Party are Nazis, but they literally carry out the Nazi strategy in their operations. So, guys, we're about to wrap up. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like this stream, and share this stream. It helps us out a whole lot. This is possibly the biggest stream we've had. We're streaming on multiple platforms, on 2 of our YouTube channels, on Rumble and on Twitch. So please consider subscribing to the channel wherever you're watching from, sharing the video and liking the video. We go live every day, and we're going to be doing more live streams like this where we catch up on what's going on from the White House and what's going on in real time whenever something like this takes place. Yeah, so Jennifer says, those of us who can see the truth for what it is must stand together against the socialist agenda. If not, then our way of life will end. And that is why I talk about this. I had someone on the main channel tell me that this wasn't my concern, that I shouldn't be talking about what's going on in the United States. Whatever happens in the United States eventually happens here. It eventually happens here, okay? So it's important that I talk about it. And if the whole world talks about it, then something changes, okay? Jennifer, thanks for that. Jennifer also says, yes, that playbook is the Communist Manifesto. Exactly. And how is it that a socialist or a communist is literally running for office in New York and is definitely going to win? He's going to win in the end. So it's frightening to watch all of this happen. The Communist the manifesto is being used and is working, essentially. So Communist Manifesto, I strongly suggest if anyone reading this hasn't read that short read, do so now. It will blow your mind. Jennifer, do you have a link to it? If you do, you can share it, but I'll take a look at it. I've never read the Communist Manifesto. I need to read it. I need to read it myself. There are a ton of books that we need to read. Susan Deneen, I hope Susan is still online because I'm giving her a shout out. Susan Deneen says, the best, Trump is the best. Okay, I'm going to read it from here because the emojis. Trump is the best from UK. We can only dream. Instead, we have a traitor to our country. Yeah. Sad. I'll see if I can find a PDF. Okay, fine. Please, if you can find the PDF and just drop the link for everyone to use, that would be great. If you drop it there, then I'll see if I can share it for everyone to pick up on all the channels that we're streaming on. So, guys, we're waiting on Jennifer to provide us with a link to the Communist Manifesto. So, if you're interested in getting that copy, just to see what's going on, the best way to prepare for what's coming is to know how your enemy thinks. And honestly, we don't want them to be our enemies, but they see us as the enemy. You can see it from what they call you. They call you a Nazi. They call you a fascist. They call you all these things. And when they do that, it is to give them permission to harm you. or to harm people that are close to you. That's why they use those words. It is the strategy of depersoning you. They stop seeing you as a person, and it gives them permission to do that to you. All right, so again, please consider subscribing if you haven't yet, sharing the video, liking the video, and if you want to, if you can and you're able to, consider supporting the stream using the pinned comment or chat. There's a link there that lets you support the channel financially. All right. I do need your support, just like we saw all of these content creators who have essentially become journalists speaking with President Trump. The only reason why they can do what they do is that they have support of their audience. And I believe that more of us, even those of you who are in the chat right now talking to me and watching me, should consider starting a YouTube channel, a podcast, something. Jennifer, you have to start a channel, okay? You have to start your channel, because just reading the things you've written down, you need to start a channel, all right? Susan, I know that there's a bit of issue with free speech in the UK, but I would suggest that you also figure out how to start creating content, okay? It's important. We have to speak louder than they do. It's important. We have to speak louder than they do. And the way we do it is by creating content. We have to create content. We have to articulate the ideas that we stand for. We have to expose the hypocrisy of the left. We have to expose the evil that they are pushing on our cities and on our kids. We need to. So I would like all of us to please consider starting your own channel, starting your own means of putting out content is really important. All right, so we're waiting on Jennifer. Jennifer, you're not wrong. I'm only 24. I've been thinking about it. Yeah, look, Jennifer, you're only 24, but you're way advanced than a lot of us, and you've read a book I haven't read. You've read a book I haven't read. So please, I would love to see your channel. I would love to see you do stuff. Okay, I would love to see you do stuff, and I would support you. I would subscribe to your channel. We need to put the word out. All right. It's important. You posted the link. Okay. I don't think it. Okay. Hold on. Geez. Okay. Wait a second. I need to check. Okay. See what you can do. Okay. Space out the. Don't put in the dots, okay? Just put the address and then kind of remove the dots. I think it's being filtered out by YouTube. It's being filtered out by YouTube. It's being filtered out by YouTube. See if you can just take out just put a space where the dots should be. All right, here's a text version. You will have to put it all together. Yeah, just put it in, and then I'll put it together. I'll see if I can share it. If it shows up, awesome. Guys, those of you who are still watching, thanks for hanging around. I just want to make this content available. I'm interested in having it myself. So I'm going to quickly get this from Jennifer, and then format it and put it back so that you guys can have the content. Then we'll stay on until all of you have downloaded or at least have clicked the link. All right. Yeah, so thank you all for watching along with me. Like, it's exciting to see people who actually are passionate to see things in the United States get fixed. Have these kinds of enriching conversations. So I go live every day, and I'm actually trying to figure out the best time to go live. I go live at noon Atlantic daytime, but if this is the best time to go live, then I'll have to switch over to this time because, like I said, this seems to be the largest crowd I've been able to put together. So it's either the event or it's the time of day. So Please consider subscribing. We'll figure it out. And then I hope that we can just keep in touch, keep talking, keep watching what's going on in the world, in the United States, and talking about it. And guys, create content. Just create content. Put it out there. I'll tell you a story. In the days following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I went to Grok to kind of take a look at what was going on in the news. And you also saw, thank you so much, Jennifer, for subscribing. Thank you. Now, you're currently on the backup channel, Jennifer. You're on the backup channel. The main channel, which is, it's a different channel, but thank you for subscribing there. I appreciate it. I will be streaming to both platforms, so you're not going to miss a thing. And most of the time, whatever I post on the main channel, I repost on the backup channel. Though sometimes it's slower. But whenever I stream on both platforms. All right. So, Jennifer, were you able to get the link done yet? We're still waiting. We're still waiting. All right. If it's still not showing up, let's make a deal. All right. You can go to, okay, here's my email address. I'm going to type in my email address. You can send it to my email address right now so that I can pick it up and post. Okay. crossroadsirl@gmail.com. All right. So just send the link to, so that's my email address. Send it there. Can you see the email address? Just let me know. If you can, then I will get it from the email address, and then I will send it to everyone. So just quickly do that so I can pick it up and send it to everyone. Okay, good. All right, so I'm waiting on the email to show up, guys. We still have a few guys waiting for the manifesto, so let's do that. Okay, so let's do that, and then we will make that available. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, so that whenever we go live, you get notified and you don't miss a thing. Susan, are you still online or you've gone offline? I know it's quite late over there. It should be around 10:21 p.m. in the UK. So let me know if you're still online. I'm just curious. I was surprised to see someone from the UK. All right, Jen, I got it. Got it. Okay, archive. Oh, nice. All right, so I'm sharing it now. Let's see if it works. Yeah, I got it. So let's see if it works. All right, let's see. Can you all see it? Type a yes if you can see it. Type a yes if you can see it. I'm waiting for your yeses. Waiting for your yeses. Let's see. Yeah, Jennifer, I see that you can see it, and I've clicked on it and archive. Yeah, I see it. Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. All right. Awesome. I tested it too. So I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes. I don't want you guys to lose the link. I think a few people are kind of a few minutes behind. So I'm going to stay on for a few minutes just to wait. If you've downloaded the link, I'm going to be counting the yeses. So if you've clicked the link, just type a yes. So I know that, because I can see the number of people who are online. I'm going to be counting the yeses, and once it matches that, then I'll go offline. Okay. I need to go down to hug my kids. Okay. So let's so Jennifer, I'm looking forward to your channel. You have my email address now. You can send me an email once you start your channel. I want to see what you're doing. And if you need me to give some pointers, I'm more than willing to do that. So, but we need to all create content. I mean, I would love for us all to create content. So just please consider doing that. Okay, so once you click the link, just say yes so I know. Don't just drop off and go offline. I just need to know that you have the package, and then I can go offline, or I can shut down the stream knowing that you got the package. Oh no, you're more than welcome, Jennifer. Lots of us need to be out there creating content. Yeah, I was telling you guys a story. So I think it was the weekend after Charlie got killed, I went on X to try and check out what the news was saying. Do you know what the news said? Okay, the summary of the news about the Charlie Kirk reporting was that he had been assassinated by a conservative. That was what Grok was saying on X, and I got mad. But when I read the footnotes, it said that Grok was simply using the aggregate of all of the posts that had been made about the story. So what that means is Grok simply counted all of the posts about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A larger number of the posts said that he was assassinated by a conservative, meaning that the people who believe that he was assassinated by a conservative outnumbered those of us who knew the truth about it. And that is the game that is being played today. The game is the part that posts the most wins. The part that posts the most wins. All right. Jennifer, are you still online? You're still online. I want to know if you're online. And then I'm thinking of replying to your email. There's something that I'm wondering, but I want to send you an email. I want to do that with your consent. I don't want to send an email without your consent. All right. So if you're still online, fine. If you're not, then I'll just let it go. So that's the reason why I keep saying we all need to create content. We all need to. Okay, we all need to. So in 2013, the Obama administration removed the Smith. Yeah, I've heard of the Smith-Mundt Act, which prevents the news from sharing propaganda or being sued when they do so. All right, I'm sending the email now as a reply. All right, so I've sent you the response on the email. So I just wanted your consent before doing that. So I've sent you an email. Let me know if you've seen it. Yeah, so the Obama administration did a lot to open the floodgates of the misinformation campaign that we're seeing in the mainstream media today. And I think that was where the shift happened for me. For decades, my family watched CNN. CNN played in my home in Africa for a long time. But during the 2016 election campaign, I noticed a shift. That was where I was I was red-pilled. I was like, what's going on here? There's something off about the reporting about Donald Trump's candidacy. Okay, so all of that was kicked off. All of that was kicked off by this. Hold on, just give me a sec. All right. Okay, so hold on. Okay. So thanks, Jennifer. So all of that opened the floodgates for this massive misinformation campaign, which we now see on CNN, MSNBC, ABC. It opened the floodgates. So I can trace all of that back to that, but I didn't know about this act. I didn't until the week after Charlie got assassinated. All right, so I don't want to. Okay, so yeah, so I'm still with. Okay, have all of us downloaded the link? So if you want to contact me, my email, I put up the email already. If you want to contact me directly, if you want to talk about learning how to create content yourself and covering things like news and live streaming, I can just have a chat with you. That's fine. But I really am passionate about all of us creating more content, because seeing how they are spreading misinformation about things happening in the world, we all need to put out content correcting the lies. We all need to put out content correcting the lies. It is important. It's important. So let me know in my inbox. My email is out there. Let me know in the inbox if you want to, hey, how can I start? What can I do? I'll be glad to just give you some pointers, okay? And then just watch you grow, okay? All right, call to action. If you haven't liked the video yet, I can see that we have less likes than we have on the live stream. So please, if you haven't liked yet, please like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. The live stream will be going dark in 2 minutes, starting now. So those of you who are here, thank you so much for being here. Jennifer, thank you. Yatias311, thank you so much. Those of you who have joined the live stream, who have been very supportive of the regular content that I post, I want to say I appreciate you, and I'm very grateful for your support, for watching the videos, and for being very supportive. And I would also again say, please, if you can, support the stream. This is kind of my 9 to 5 for now. I don't have a day job, so this is my 9 to 5, and supporting the stream kind of helps encourage me to keep doing this and creating more content that exposes the lies that the news is pushing out there, and essentially telling the truth. Okay, so I just want to find the truth and give my perspective as an immigrant on the truth. I know that there are a lot of people out there who kind of, I got a chat on the main channel saying that I should focus on stuff happening in Africa, and I replied to him and said, dude, you guys have been speaking about the rest of the world. It's our turn to return the favor. We're watching and we don't like what we see. Okay, so there's the impression that we shouldn't say anything because we're not from there. But there's the internet. We can see everything happening and we can give our opinion. For most of us, we come from countries where a lot of these things have happened before. Like Jennifer said, the Communist Manifesto is a playbook, and many countries have used it before. And because they've used it before, it's easy to predict where everyone is going. So if I've come from a country where I've seen these things play out and it doesn't end well, it would be wrong for me not to speak up and say, hey, I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends. Don't do this. So that's part of what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to say, look, this is my observation. This is what I think. And you guys make up your mind and do your own research. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Yas. I don't know if you're still online. You've been silent for a while. Thank you, everyone. I'll be going live again tomorrow. And I hope that you guys kind of catch the next live stream. I might do the same thing, do 2 streams in one day. It's really something that I will be considering, but I'll be live at 12 o'clock ADT. And if I feel like if there's something happening at the White House, we will always go live to follow it. So that's something else that I would want to start doing starting today. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the other mods. I have other mods that are also out there. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It means a lot, so much more than you'll ever know. All right, so I'll see you on the next live stream. Good night.